Have you ever walked into a completely empty room and immediately felt like someone was standing behind you, so you spin around? Nothing, congratulations. Your brain just spent valuable energy preparing to fight absolutely nobody. Again. It's one of the most common experiences people have, especially at night. You're home alone, every door is locked. You've checked the closet twice, because apparently that's what adults do now. Then your brain casually whispers, what if someone is there? Thanks, brain, very productive. The weird part is that this isn't a design flaw. For most of human history, assuming something was hiding nearby was actually a fantastic survival strategy. Imagine you're a human living 40,000 years ago. There's no electricity, no houses, no emergency services. Every strange sound in the bushes could be wind. Or it could be something with teeth longer than your fingers. If your brain assumes it's just the wind and it's actually a predator, game over. But if your brain assumes danger when it's only the wind, you lose maybe 10 seconds of your day. Evolution absolutely loves that trade. Psychologists call this a false positive bias. Your nervous system is designed to prefer embarrassing mistakes over fatal ones. Think of it like an overly sensitive smoke detector. Sure, it screams because you burned toast. But it also screams during actual fires. Your brain works the same way. That coat hanging on the chair suddenly looks like a person. The pile of laundry becomes a crouching monster. That tree outside your bedroom window somehow develops human proportions after midnight. Nothing changed. Only your brain switched into predator detection mode. Even stranger, humans are unbelievably good at seeing faces where there aren't any. Clouds, electrical outlets, cars, pieces of toast. A wrinkle in your curtains, scientists call this pareidolia. Our brains evolved to detect faces incredibly quickly, because recognizing another human even from terrible visual information could mean the difference between life and death. It's actually safer to accidentally see a face in a rock than accidentally miss the real person hiding behind it. Which explains why every jacket hanging on a bedroom door transforms into the world's creepiest serial killer after 2 a.m. Your visual cortex basically becomes an unpaid horror movie director. The same thing happens with sounds. A tiny creak becomes footsteps. The air conditioner becomes whispering. Your refrigerator suddenly sounds emotionally unstable. Your hearing isn't getting worse, it's getting more cautious. When visibility drops, your brain increases sensitivity to tiny noises because ancient humans couldn't afford to ignore subtle clues. At night predators hunted, humans didn't exactly dominate nighttime. Our night vision is mediocre, our hearing is decent. Our imagination is absolutely undefeated. And that's another fascinating part. Your imagination isn't trying to entertain you. It's running survival simulations. What if that's a wolf? What if someone's outside? What if something moved? It's basically rehearsing disasters before they happen. Modern anxiety often hijacks this same system. Your brain doesn't always distinguish between physical threats and psychological ones. That's why lying awake at 3 a.m. thinking about an awkward conversation from 6 years ago somehow feels like immediate physical danger. Your body releases stress hormones, your heart speeds up, muscles tense. Meanwhile, the threat is literally an email you forgot to answer. Ancient software, modern problems. Researchers also think this explains why horror movies work so well. Logically, you know the monster isn't real. Emotionally, your survival system says, I'd still like to leave the room. That's because fear bypasses rational thinking remarkably quickly. The amygdala, your brain's alarm system, can react before your conscious brain fully processes what's happening. In simple terms, your body screams first, your brain asks questions later. That's why jump scares work even when they are painfully obvious. You know someone will pop out, it still gets you. Your nervous system refuses to spoil the surprise. Even being watched changes human behavior. Studies show people become more honest, cleaner, and more cooperative when they simply believe someone might be observing them. In one famous experiment, placing pictures of eyes near an honesty box dramatically increased the amount of money people voluntarily paid. Not real eyes, just pictures. Apparently your subconscious can't entirely ignore judgment from clip art. Thousands of years ago, being watched by members of your tribe mattered enormously. Your reputation determined whether people shared food, protected you, or trusted you. Today, your brain still reacts as if social observation equals survival. Which is why accidentally making eye contact with someone across the gym somehow feels like you've committed international espionage. Basically, your brain is still guarding a campsite that disappeared thousands of years ago. Ever notice how impossible it is to stop eating potato chips? One chip becomes five becomes half the bag. Half the bag becomes staring into an empty package, wondering who ate everything. Spoiler, it was you. And your ancestors would be incredibly proud. Humans evolved in an environment where food was unpredictable. There were no grocery stores, no refrigerators, no food delivery apps arriving because you forgot ingredients for the third night in a row. Finding calories was hard work. Keeping calories was even harder. So evolution built a brain that celebrates eating, especially foods packed with fat, sugar, and salt. Those were once incredibly rare. Finding honey wasn't casual. You had to locate wild bees, then somehow convince thousands of angry insects that borrowing their life's work was a reasonable idea. Sweet food meant enormous energy. Fat meant survival during famine. Salt prevented serious health problems. Today, all three are available inside one drive-through meal the size of a small backpack. Unfortunately, your brain never updated. It still reacts like calories are about to disappear forever. That's why highly processed food feels almost impossible to resist. Food companies didn't invent these cravings, they reverse-engineered them. Scientists call this the reward system. When you eat calorie-dense food, dopamine encourages you to remember exactly where that food came from. Originally, this helped humans repeatedly find valuable food sources. Now your brain has memorized the exact location of every fast food restaurant within 10 miles. Outstanding use of ancient technology. There's another reason overeating feels so easy. Your stomach isn't actually very good at instantly telling your brain it's full. That signal takes time, about 20 minutes. Meanwhile, you're operating under outdated information. It's like trying to stop filling a bathtub after the water has already overflowed. Your brain receives delayed updates. This made sense when meals were scarce. Nobody wanted to quit eating halfway through a successful hunt because they felt pretty satisfied. Eat while food exists. Tomorrow wasn't guaranteed. Even your attraction to variety has ancient roots. This phenomenon is called sensory-specific satiety. Basically, eating the same food repeatedly becomes less rewarding, but introduce dessert. Suddenly, there's somehow unlimited space. People joke about having a separate dessert stomach. Biologically, your brain simply becomes excited by novelty. In nature, variety meant a wider range of nutrients, different plants, different fruits, different animals, different vitamins. Today, it means somehow eating cheesecake after claiming you couldn't finish dinner. Your ancestors collected nutrition, you collected cheesecake. Both technically involve strategy. Researchers also discovered something called loss aversion around food. People hate wasting food far more than they enjoy saving calories. Think about every time you finished a meal because throwing it away felt wrong. Even though you were already full. Your brain treats abandoned calories almost like lost opportunities. Ancient humans couldn't casually waste energy. Food represented survival. Modern refrigerators confuse this instinct completely. Another fascinating behavior, stockpiling snacks. Even wealthy people often keep far more food than they realistically need. Cabinets overflow. Freezers become archaeological sites. Some canned goods survive longer than civilizations. Part of this comes from uncertainty. Your brain likes visible resources. Seeing food creates psychological comfort because, deep down, scarcity remains one of humanity's oldest fears. Ironically, modern abundance activates ancient scarcity instincts. The more available food becomes, the harder your brain works to make sure you don't lose access to it. It's like hiring an extremely paranoid security guard for a building that's already surrounded by police. Useful once, ridiculous now. Basically, your appetite is still preparing for winters your grocery store already solved. Imagine walking into a room where every single person suddenly looks up at the ceiling. Nobody says a word. Within seconds, you're looking up too. Not because you saw something, because everyone else did. Congratulations. Your brain just demonstrated one of humanity's oldest survival programs. People love believing they are independent thinkers. We picture ourselves making logical decisions based on evidence, carefully weighing every option like tiny philosophers carrying reusable grocery bags. Reality is a little less flattering. Most of the time, your brain is quietly asking one question: what is everybody else doing? That instinct sounds embarrassingly unoriginal until you remember where it came from. For hundreds of thousands of years, being separated from your group wasn't quirky, it was lethal. Humans weren't the fastest animals, we weren't the strongest. Our teeth weren't exactly terrifying. If prehistoric humans had auditioned for most likely to win against a bear, they would have been eliminated before introductions. Our real superpower was cooperation. Groups spotted predators sooner, groups shared food, groups defended children. Groups remembered dangerous places if everyone suddenly ran. You didn't stop to interview witnesses, you ran first, questions came later. Imagine standing near a river gathering berries. Suddenly 12 people sprint into the forest. One person says, "Wait, what's happening?" The other person is already halfway over a log because they'd rather look foolish than become lunch. Evolution strongly preferred the second person. That's why social proof feels so automatic today. Psychologists have repeatedly shown that people often follow crowds, even when the crowd is obviously wrong. One of the most famous demonstrations came from experiments where participants knowingly gave incorrect answers simply because everyone else in the room did. The answer was right in front of them, their own eyes disagreed, but the group won anyway. That's not weakness, that's ancient wiring. Your brain assumes dozens of humans probably noticed something you missed. Most of the time throughout history, that assumption was correct. Even yawning is contagious. One person yawns. Suddenly half the room looks like it's preparing for hibernation. Scientists still debate exactly why this happens, but many believe it's linked to empathy and social synchronization. Basically, your brain likes matching the emotional rhythm of people around you. Which explains why one sleepy coworker can emotionally infect an entire office by 2:30 in the afternoon. Humans also unconsciously copy body language. Cross your arms during a conversation. The other person often does it too. Lean forward, they lean forward, smile. Smiles spread surprisingly fast. This is called the chameleon effect. It helps create trust because similarity feels safe. Ancient tribes depended on coordination. Matching behavior signaled cooperation. Today it mostly results in two strangers awkwardly reaching for the same coffee creamer at exactly the same time. Your brain is also constantly scanning for social approval. Notice how weird it feels to clap when nobody else is clapping. Or laugh when everyone else stays silent. Even if something is genuinely funny. Your nervous system treats disagreement with the group almost like physical discomfort. Researchers have actually found that social rejection activates some of the same brain regions involved in physical pain. Being excluded once carried enormous consequences: lose your tribe, lose protection, lose food, possibly lose your life. Modern rejection usually means someone left your message unread. Your brain reacts like you've been exiled into the wilderness anyway. Social media has turned this ancient instinct into a full-time occupation. Likes, views, comments, followers. Your reward system interprets social attention much more seriously than your conscious mind wants to admit. Every notification whispers the same prehistoric message: the tribe still accepts you. Which is an incredible amount of emotional responsibility to place on someone reacting with a thumbs-up emoji. Fashion works similarly. People often assume clothing trends are driven entirely by creativity. Not exactly. Humans naturally prefer fitting into their social environment while still standing out just enough to gain attention. Too different, risk exclusion. Too identical, nobody notices you. Your brain spends remarkable energy balancing those two goals without asking permission. Even language evolves through imitation. Accents spread, slang spreads, catchphrases spread. One person says something ridiculous. A month later, half the internet can't stop repeating it. That's not random. Humans are exceptional vocal imitators because shared communication once improved survival. If your entire tribe had different words for "there's a tiger over there," things would have gotten complicated very quickly. So the next time you catch yourself laughing because everyone else laughed, buying something because everyone else bought it, or instinctively checking where everyone is staring, remember, you're running software designed for campfires, hunting parties, and avoiding giant predators. It just accidentally got connected to Wi-Fi.